Hi everyone! Today I'm gonna analyze the TTJouzu Season 1 top board game, which was played between Rhyle and AshenSilverwolf on November 13th of 2020. Rhyle was actually the winner of the tournament, 8 wins, 1 loss, and Ashen had second place, 7 wins, 2 loss, which is worth mentioning that third place was also 7 wins, 2 loss, and it was taken by Synchro Zero. So let's jump into the game. Rhyle was center and Ashen was gote. You can see that Rhyle immediately played the opposing rook and Ashen is going for the static rook strategy. The edge pawns were pushed and you can see this unusual usage of bishop on the edge. This pawn is being attacked, so Rhyle needs to defend it. He chooses the gold. The rook goes up. This is also a pretty unusual strategy. And the target of this rook is to go for this pawn. Of course, if gote manages to get this free pawn, he's gonna be up in material, but the fact that he moved the rook here and then probably will be forced to retreat it will cost him a lot of tempo. In my experience, it is good to push this pawn in this timing, because you can either get control over this file or activate your own rook. Will be able to either promote it or take the knight next move. The other thing you can do before he moves the rook here, you can try to activate your bishop on 6-6 square. If he leaves this, it means that this line is no longer occupied by the rook. If he goes back, your bishop went to much better position. Anyway, what happened in the game is Rhyle went for slow development. He finished his castle first. Like this. It is a good plan. It is a good plan to finish your castle before you attack. Many people would probably also try to attack this bishop's head before you finish the castle. But actually what's gonna happen is, sure, you're gonna get a material advantage if you would to escape, right? The bishop goes down, you can drop the pawn. But the problem is he's not gonna do that. Instead, he will try to promote his rook and to occupy this first file. This would be a good fight for gote. So be careful of this kind of variations. Meantime, Ashen had made this very peculiar shape. He's gonna move his other gold to here as well. And this kind of shape is called duck's legs. I do not recommend this shape for beginners because, as you can see, the king is left in the center. And we have this proverb that says, king sitting on original square is like a sitting duck. And as you're gonna see, this place will be much closer to the enemy's attack. In comparison, this rook is much further to this king. And this king is gonna be punished for being in center. So the game develops, and here you can see Rhyle attacking on the 8-5 finally. Ashen takes it, and the pawn is dropped. And you can slowly see the weakness of duck's legs. This 8-3 square is not protected by anything. And few moves later, you can see Rhyle drops the pawn on 8-3 and manages to promote his rook. If Ashen were to defend now, Rhyle simply would escape and he has the benefit of a dragon. This is not what happened though. Ashen tried to block the dragon in place. But here, Rhyle had a very good move, 8-2 pawn drop. And thanks to that, his attack is unstoppable. Ashen of course won't go down without a fight. He tries to attack on edge. And here Rhyle plays a smart move. Instead of taking it and allowing his opponent to have an edge attack with this rook joining in, he decides to drop the pawn instead, force the bishop back. This is a smart move. His attack is, as I said, unstoppable already. So by calming down the position, he keeps his advantage on the other side of the board. And so the talking was made, and knight was taken. Rhyle has now a huge material advantage. The gold escapes, another lance was taken. Ashen goes for lance exchange on the edge, but Rhyle uses that to counter on the other side. There are a few exchanges happening. And here you can see that this knight promotion is actually forces gote to answer because it's a check. And because king takes, he gets much closer to this attacking dragon, making Sente happy. as a result, wasting move to go back. Maybe let's look at this position and try to see who's better, right? So this lance from Sente's defense disappeared. He is vulnerable to this kind of night drops, but he has a lot of escape space over here so far. The bishop on the edge is not working well, but the dragon is much closer to the king. The next move here would make it very, very scary. So comparing those two pieces, the dragon is a better piece. Rhyle also has 2 rooks on the board, one in hand, one on the board, which means this attack will be much stronger. Other pieces, 2 lances versus knight and lance, and a silver in hand for Rhyle. So Rhyle has a material advantage as well. Material advantage, king safety advantage, activity piece advantage. It seems that Rhyle is going to win. So he tries to attack very lightly with a pawn push, and you can see very good lance drop under that pawn. And this variation is quite forced. It's a very good play from Rhyle. He gives no time for his opponent to create any type of counter. And the king runs. If the gold would take the silver, this is a checkmate. So Ashen does the right decision and runs away. The gold is taken, but the king runs again. Now we are entering the endgame. Rhyle is dropping the rook here. He forces king and bishop. Not only that, he forces the opponent to drop a piece here, which blocks the king escape. Here Rhyle actually takes the bishop, but he could have also prioritized the attack by taking this lance or moving this promoted lance to 5-2, trying to checkmate the king instead of going for material, but both of those plays are good for Sente. Here once more, if Rhyle would take this lance, the dragon would be taken, but this would be a checkmate. This kind of idea in the endgame, speed is better than material, is very important. Taking the initiative is very, very important in the endgame, so please remember to play this kind of moves. So Rhyle calms down, doesn't take the risk, he retreats his dragon. Here Ashen finally retakes the promoted lance, and Rhyle drops a very good bishop to cut off the king escape once more. This is also a checkmate threat here, and Ashen needs to defend. He defends with a lance. This lance can be actually taken for free, because by pawn retaking it, it makes a space for a gold drop. We didn't do that, we dropped the gold, which is also a very good move. Dragon was taken, and the attack continues. Finally going back to defense. So Rhyle, he needs to do one thing. He needs to close up his dragon to the opponent's king, and once the king is in front of his pawn, it will be much easier to catch it. So retaking lance here is the proper move to calm the position down once more. And then Ashen tries to make some attack here with a rook drop, which Rhyle defends by a lance drop. And finally the dragon comes in, and as Rhyle promotes the bishop to 2-3, Ashen resigns. Actually, in this position there was a checkmate starting with a lance drop over here. If you are interested, dear viewer, please try it at home, how this line is a checkmate. So Rhyle won this game, but at the end of the tournament, both of the players graduated to Tourney to Showdown by achieving 5Q ranking. Of course, wishing them best luck for the next season. Rhyle won his right to play 6-piece handicap against Katagami-sensei, but we will leave that game record for the next video. If you want to join our Tourney to Series tournaments, please join our Discord, link is below. The registration is open until March 7th. We'll be happy to see you at our Harbour.